we always like the railroads and trains. They seem really important, and we don't understand the real infrastructure and economic logic behind it. What's important is rails not easy investment. They are extremely expensive. Uh, in most countries, there is not much railways, and we think because they are not underdeveloped, they don't have money or they don't have a technology. No, it's not about money always. It's not about technology, because you cannot make a investment um, easily with just money or technology. You need a lot of different things to come together. Um, for instance, which country has a lot of railways? Germany and Japan. Well, yeah, they are technologically advanced. They are rich countries. That's not the point. The point is their population density. They have a lot of people in a small area, so they can easily connect big cities close to together with railways. So it's easy. But think about the small countries. For instance, Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, or they can build railways because they are already smaller. They don't have five big cities to connect each other. They have only one big cities and one port. So they at most they can do one railway from the most important capital city to their port. Uh, for them to build lots of railways in their country is impossible. But what if the countries come together? What if Lithuania, Estonia, Lithuania, Poland, and Germany they wanna build road from one capital to another? Yeah, this is much easier because they will not do this investment alone. They can use European funds. So they build, and this is real project. They already start building from Berlin to Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia to Poland. Modern railway pass from each capital. So this is not just about money. It's about diplomacy. Not just about technology. It's about geography. What if I tell you 100 years ago, few countries come together and decided to build multinational railways? The most important stories we gonna tell is about Ottomans and Germany. In 1900, Ottomans having so much problems. They just lost Egypt, and they lost Romania, and earlier Ukraine. So they had a big capital, Istanbul, almost a million population, but they haven't had time to feed those people. What they do is they export food from Russia and even United States. You will ask, why didn't they bring food from the Central Anatolia, from the Konya, Sivas? Uh, First of all, truck wasn't available in that time. I mean, there was very few and not economically viable. And bringing a lot of stuff from with horses and camels, long distance is extremely expensive. So what they can do, they just export from the United States. But Germany too having a problem. England, France had a lot of colonies all over the world, so they can trade heavily with them. But Germany didn't have a lot of trade partners. The industry was very good, they produced a lot of stuff, but they didn't have trade partners to sell them. So what they do, they approached the Ottomans. They offered to build a railway from the Baghdad to Berlin. And Ottoman accepted this. And they start building railways. First to Istanbul, second to Central Anatolia, then to Baghdad. This was 100 years away from anything we see today. As I mentioned before, Baltic states just newly started building their own railways. So they were much earlier than Baltics. To commemorate this big deal, they wanna build big fountain in Istanbul. German King Wilhelm the Kaiser come to Istanbul, and they built German fountain in Istanbul near Sultanahmet. It was a really important locations because the location was in center of the Istanbul, of course. There was two important mosques. One was Hagia Sophia, built by Byzantines. Second was Sultanahmet Mosque, and just few hundred meters away. And Sultanahmet Mosque is important because the point of the mosque is Ottomans tried to build something bigger, better than Hagia Sophia Mosque. And that is why they built Sultanahmet Mosque next to each other. It was a civilizational challenge for Ottomans. And near the Sultanahmet Mosque, it was old Byzantine hippodrome, where Byzantine hold horse races. And in that hippodrome, there was three important artifacts. One from Greeks, one from Egypt, and one from Rome. Byzantines put three artifacts together to make a point. They say that we are the center of the world. We inherited old empires, Rome, Egypt, and Greeks. And Kaiser Wilhelm wanted to put German fountain next to those three artifacts. And when you start walk from the horizontal from one to another, when all artifacts finished, German fountains start. This is and this was not just a imaginary theory. When Baghdad railways built, lots of important things happened at once. First, Istanbul was dependent on the grain from the Russia and United States. Now they were not dependent anymore. They were able to bring Central Anatolia grain to Istanbul, and they become independent in food respect and feeding the capital. Second, Turkish and German trade exploded. Germany started to import a lot of stuff from Turkey and export a lot of stuff to Turkey. But this is good for Germany and Turkey, and this was good for the Middle East. It started the economical transformation, and Ottoman did not stop there. They started to build Hijaz railways to Mecca and Medina. They want to connect Arabia to Istanbul too. And Hijaz railways is different because Baghdad railways would with German investment. Hijaz railways would by Ottoman money. Yeah, you will say Ottoman didn't have that much money. Yeah, they didn't. But Abdülhamit cleverly thought that this and represent this not an imperial project but religious project, and collected a lot of donation from lots of people. We heard that Iranians, even Pakistanis, donated lots of money, and it was important news all over the Islamic world. Lots of newspapers published daily about the progress in the Hijaz railways, and it finished without any debt. And Ottomans were planning to expand these railways to Iran, to Africa. They planning long-term vision, but not everybody was on the same boat. Some didn't like the railways; they liked boats, especially England and France. They had a different plan. They didn't want the world uh, connected with railways. They want the world divided into smaller countries. 50 divided smaller countries in Africa, 10 divided countries in Middle East. Each has a one port and connected the world with that port. So there could be railways in those countries, but only to connect their capital to the port. After the First World War, England won, and they pushed their own worldview to the Middle East countries. They divided Middle East countries smaller pieces. What was important was each small piece has one port. Even Jordan, given a port, it was a small strip, and that port connected Jordan to the wider world. Even Iraq has a port, and Syria and Lebanon all had a port. They all divided. And what about the Berlin-Baghdad railway? England and France did not allow this continue. The railways connecting Turkey and Syria and Iraq was deliberately broken, and they didn't use it, and they disconnected from the Turkey. So they need to connect Syria and Iraq, not the Turkey, disconnect from Turkey. They need to connect to ports in the France and England. So they built infrastructure of the ports and connect these countries to global capitalism with their own ports. So what this makes is now Iraq, Syria, smaller countries in the Arabian Peninsula, all were a part of the global sea empires. Their leaders need to agree with sea empires. If not, they didn't have any other important neighbors. They could be overthrown easily with navies of the England and France. And England did overthrow government in Iraq when they needed in Second World War, and much later in after 9/11 in 2003. So this was a two global vision. One wants to divide the world between small countries and ports. Other want to unite the world with railways. But first vision failed, railways. Second vision won. But at this point of time, we see that England and France don't want to rule the world anymore. It's become too complicated. I think they want to withdraw the Middle East. Iraq invasion, similar foreign interventions will not be easy from now. What will happen is the world needs to solve own problems. The West still try to control with foreign aid some countries in the Middle East, like Egypt and Jordan. But this won't last forever. West will withdraw their support at some point. And that point, Middle East needs to learn to stand its own. And to stand its own, they need infrastructure. They need to build roads, railways, just like European Union did. Just like Germany and Ottomans did 100 years ago. And this will take time, but I think this is the right way to go to build our own infrastructure.